you meet with and what do they tell you?
Thank you for inviting me. I have not met anyone from Facebook. I'm going to meet today the representation of the Federal Committee of Trade because we need to understand how the United States enforcer will react on this new event because we already have consolidated our powers on European side. The regulators and enforcers are mobilized to take actions, and of course we must better understand what happened and who should be blamed for.
So what will you be asking those Facebook representatives today? Do you know who they will be yet?
I don't know if it's confirmed because the weather conditions are rather difficult here. But of course, if I meet them, I will have several serious questions especially on how this could have happened, whether they have neglected the privacy rules, whether they were careful enough, and whether they were following the rules which should have ensured the trust for the people, because these are essential questions also for the Europeans.
Now, you are curtailed to some extent in what kind of sanctions you could impose were you to find Facebook negligent in some way. You said, though, that you would be imposing really, drastic sanctions. How would you do that?
At this moment in Europe, the member states are responsible for imposing the sanctions. So, for instance, the United Kingdom, in case the breach of privacy rules will be proven, they can impose the sanction up to £500,000. And these sanctions differ from state to state, which will stop in May this year because we are unifying the rules, including the sanctions, and the new General Data Protection Regulation will enable the member states to impose much higher sanctions, which cannot be applied on this current case because there is no retroactivity possible.
Exactly. That starts May 25th. Well, you are asking the working group, the 29 working party, to investigate all of this. Have you contacted every single nation in the EU? Are all on board with this?
All the member states are represented in Working Party 29. They met yesterday, and as one, they confirmed that they are unified in launching the investigations in case they find out that the privacy rules and the rights of people in their states have been or might have been breached. And this is a very important moment because I think that if they connect and if they join the powers, they can take consolidated pan-European actions.
Could this set some kind of precedent, Commissioner? What are you hoping for as an outcome if Facebook were to be found guilty or negligent in some way?
I am not happy at all about this case because, in my view, this is not only about data protection breaches. This is about the threat to democracy and individual freedoms of people. So, of course, this will serve as a precedent for the future. And I can say that in Europe we are ready for these cases, also as for the preventive measures, because, as I mentioned, the regulation is very tough. We require very strict rules to be obeyed in the EU, especially as far as the consent of the people is concerned, because we want the providers to have the consent of people, the people who must understand the purpose, why the data is collected, and what the provider will do with the data. And of course, it is clear that the providers are monetizing the data, but the people must know what is behind that and what are the plans.
Will you be specifically asking Facebook for Mark Zuckerberg to come to Europe and speak before either the Parliament in general or national parliaments?
There will likely come the requests for such hearings. There is a new thing that tomorrow the prime ministers and the presidents of all the member states will gather in Brussels, and upon request of the President Macron, this will be on the agenda. So we can expect also a consolidated approach from the side of the member states, highest representation, and very likely also the national parliaments will require to get the explanation.
You also met in DC while you were there with Secretary Wilbur Ross and also Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Can you give us some insight into what you discussed with both of those government officials?
With Jeff Sessions, we discussed the possibilities for future cooperation in criminal justice field, which also concerns the digital sphere. We want to agree on cooperation in gathering and in getting the evidence proving some criminal activities. We have the same enemies, we have the same goals, so I think it's very appropriate that we use the same ways to solve the problems. With Wilbur Ross, we discussed the system which is called Privacy Shield, which enables transfers of private data of Europeans to United States. And this Facebook scandal is highly topical also for the debates with Wilbur Ross for me, because Facebook is one of the subscribers, one of the companies which are covered by Privacy Shield, and we have to analyze further whether Facebook in this case breached the rules which we require under this Privacy Shield scheme.